So, in this class, we learned about ambiguous case, and I did spend 2 classes on it because I wanted to make sure that you guys got an opportunity to understand ambiguous case, as well as how to solve for the potential case where there are 2 triangles. So let's take a look at this example. So it says here, we're going to be solving this triangle that we're given angle A is 70 degrees, side C is 26, and then side A is 25. So before we do these, we're always going to draw a picture of what's happening. So let's draw a picture first. This is going to be a rough picture that I'm drawing. So this is angle A for us. This is 70 degrees. And then directly across from that, this is 25. And then here is 26. And so when we look at this drawing, we realize, hey, this is 2 sides and an angle that's opposite of one of those sides. That means I need to check for ambiguous case. So when we're going down the checklist, we checked off the fact that it's 2 sides and an opposite angle. So we have to check for ambiguous case. Now, we're going to look at my angle. Is my angle an acute angle? And in our case here, yes it is. It's 70. So then we're going to take a look at the side opposite my given angle. Is it bigger than my other side? In our case here, unfortunately, 25 is smaller than 26, which means that we're going to actually have to figure out the height of my triangle here. All right, so when we figure out the height of our triangle, remember that it's going to be sine of my given angle, and then the side that I'm attaching to that is going to be the one that's not the same letter. So C for us here. So let's fill in my values. So 26 sine 70, and what we're going to do is we're going to type that in and we're going to solve for that height. So when I do that, I'm going to end up getting, if I round it to 1 decimal place, it'll be 24.4. All right, so then we look at my height, my side opposite my given angle, and then my other side. And I notice that my side A, which is 25, is kind of in between. It's in between the height and my other side. So 24.4, 25, and then 26. So this here, that's my height. This here is my other side. So when this happens, that means there's going to be 2 possible triangles. So therefore, 2 possible triangles. Okay, always remember to do the check if you're given 2 sides and an opposite angle. So now the case is I'm going to have to solve for 2 different triangles now. So let's start off by solving the first one. So I'm going to scroll up and we're going to look at triangle number 1. So if I label it, this is what I have here right now. This is angle A, so this is 70 for us. This is side C, which is going to be, I'm just going to scroll up to double check, 26. And then side A is 25. So this is going to be angle C for me. This is angle B, and then this is side B. All right, oops, sorry. And so now what we're going to look at is we're going to solve this triangle. So the first thing that I'm going to start off solving for is angle C. So we're going to do sine C over 26 equals to sine 70 over 25. In order to solve this, we're going to cross multiply, so I get 25 sine C equals to 26 sine 70. Divide both sides by 25, and I get sine C equals to 26 sine 70 over 25. And then I'm going to do the inverse. Okay, so I'm going to do C equals to sine inverse 26 sine 70 over 25. All right, so let's type this into our calculator. So sine inverse of 26 sine 70 divided by 25. And that's going to, I'm going to round it to the nearest degree. So my angle for my angle C is going to be 78 degrees here. All right, and now since I figured out that my angle C is 78 degrees, I can figure out angle B, no problem. So angle B for me is just going to be 180 subtract 70, subtract 78 degrees. So 180 subtract 70, subtract 78, that's going to leave me with 32 degrees. So I figured out that my angle B here in my first triangle is 32 degrees now. All right, apart from that, my remaining thing that I have to figure out is my side length B. Once I have my angle B, it makes it easy. So I'm going to do B over sine 32. And remember in class when I was doing these types of questions with you that I was telling you to use a given side and angle ratio from the question. Don't use anything that you've had to approximate. So in our case, we're going to use angle A and side A for this purpose. So 25 over sine 70. And now we're going to cross multiply. So I get B sine 70 equals to 25 sine 32. And then divide both sides by sine 70. And then I'm going to get side B, which I'm going to do in my calculator, sine 32, and then sine 70. And that's going to give me, if I round it to one decimal place for side length, it's going to give me 14.1. So I figured out all the angles and all the sides for my first triangle. But because this is an ambiguous case question, there's going to be a second triangle. So we're going to take a look at the second triangle now. So triangle number 2. And remember what I said about the second triangle? It's going to look like an obtuse triangle for our cases here. So this is angle A, so still 70. This is side C, 26. This is side A, which is 25. And then this angle here, originally in my other triangle, was C. This is going to be C prime. This is going to be B prime. This side becomes C prime because it's opposite, and this is side B prime. Once we have this, the second triangle is a lot easier to solve. So first, to figure out C prime, we're going to do 180 subtract 78 degrees. This angle is C from triangle 1. Okay, we're always going to take the angle, the first angle that we found in the first triangle, and we're going to subtract it to find my new quote-unquote C prime. So when I do that, I'm going to do 180 minus 78, and that's going to leave me with 102. So that's C prime now for me. So that's this angle, 102. And then now I can use that to help me figure out B prime. So 180 subtract 70, subtract 102. So 180 subtract 70 subtract 102, and that's going to leave me with 8 degrees. So in my second triangle, I've already figured out my C prime as well as my B prime. And then the last thing that I need to do is figure out the length B prime. So we're going to use B prime over sine B prime, which is 8 for us, equals to, again, we're going to use angle and side ratio that we were given originally in the question. So that means 25 over sine 70, side A and angle A. We're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to cross multiply. So B prime sine 70 equals to 25 sine 8. And we're going to divide both sides by sine 70. And B prime is going to leave us with 25 sine 8 divided by sine 70, and that's going to give us, rounded to the nearest tenth as well, it's going to give us 3.7. All right, and because this question was just asking you to solve triangles, you're going to have to write me a therefore sentence telling me triangle 1 has these angles and triangle 2 has these angles and sides as well. All right, so we're going to write our therefore sentence. So triangle 1, angle A was 70. Angle B from my first triangle was 32. Angle C was 78. Side A was 25. Side B, we figured out, was 14.1. And then side C was 26. That's for my first triangle. And then we also have triangle number 2 now. Angle A stays the same, 70. Angle B for us in my second triangle was 8. Angle C was 102. Side A, 25. Side B was 3.7. And then side C was also still 26. All right, so make sure you know how to do ambiguous case, especially in the case of solving as well as in word problems.